Hey, Math Scholars, I want to share just a few things that are going to be helpful for you today as you're working on lesson 7. Obviously, you guys know that this symbol means a greater than symbol, and that this symbol is called a less than symbol. So as we think about what those symbols mean when it comes to writing an equation or an inequality and putting that on a number line. So let's first look at the greater than symbol. If we think of greater than, if x, so x, remember, is just some variable. It's just some number. If x is greater than, say, 4, that means that x could be any number that's more than 4. It could even be 4.1, but that's greater than 4.0, which is what 4 is. So if we were to put this then on a number line, so think about putting this inequality on a number line. So I put a number line down like this, and of course, there are numbers that go on forever on both sides of our number line. And if this is 0, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to stop right there for my number line. So if x is greater than 4, how I would draw that on a number line is I would say, okay, here is 4, so I'm going to put a circle at 4. And then x could be greater than 4. So I'm going to extend that number line and darken that in and darken in the arrow because it could be far beyond 5 or 6 on my number line. So this is how I would show x is greater than 4. Notice that my circle here at 4 is an open circle. That means that the number x, or the variable x, can't be 4, but it's anything more than 4. And then when I think about the less than symbol, if x is less than 4, that means whatever x is, it's going to be less than 4. And I transfer that over to a number line. So I'm going to draw the same number line. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Except this time, x is going to be less than 4. So I'm going to do my open circle again at 4. I'm going to go to the left of 4 because x is less than 4, and then I'm going to darken the rest of that number line in. So this is what it would look like for x is less than 4 on my number line. Now, there's a couple of new things that I want to share with you. Well, this one's not a new thing. Obviously, you know that this symbol means equal to. So if x was, say, equal 2, and if x is equal to 4, that means that x is simply just 4. So if I were to put this on a number line, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I were to put this on a number line, x would be exactly at 4. Now notice what I do with this. This isn't an open circle anymore. I'm using a closed circle to mean that my variable x is this particular number right here, okay? So now on to our 2 new ones that are going to be helpful for your work today, and you're going to see this on your exercises. So I'm going to combine this equal to sign and the greater than and the less than sign. So when I do this, I'm going to use greater than or equal to. Now notice how I said that, greater than or equal to. So I'm using kind of half of that line just symbolizes half of my equal sign. So this is greater than or equal to. So let's look at what this looks like. If x is greater than or equal to, let's say, 6, that means that x could in fact be 6, but it could also be any number that's greater than 6. So I'm going to transfer this to a number line. So here's what this looks like. I'm going to have 0, and let's count by 5s this time. So I've got 5, 10, 15, and I'll go ahead and stop right there. So if I want to make x greater than or equal to 6, that means that since it can also be 6, look at what I did with the equal to. I used this closed circle, so I shaded in the circle. And then if it was greater than, look up here, if it was greater than, then I extended and darkened my number line. So I'm going to put a solid circle in where 6 would be on my number line. But since it's greater than or equal to, I'm going to extend this number line all the way out and darken that in. So now this shows you that X could be greater than or equal to 6. Now let's look at the less than. So this is less than or equal to. So I'm going to write that less than, or it could be equal to. So let's just say that X is less than or equal to 3. So on my number line, here's what it's going to look like and how this is going to transfer over to my number line. If I have 0 here, and of course we can have negative numbers as well. So when it's less than, that means it could even be less than 0. So I've got 1, I've got 2, 3, and let's just go ahead and put 4 and stop there. So if X is less than or equal to 3, so I have to show the equal to because it could be equal to 3. So I'm going to shade in a circle. I'm going to do a solid circle, a solid point at 3 because it could be equal to, but it could also be anything in a number line less than. So I'm going to darken in everything less than. I'm going to include that arrow because that means that there are far, far greater numbers that are less than what I just show on my number line. So then this particular number line shows X is less than or equal to 3. So could X could be 0. X could be negative 55. X could be 0.3. All of those numbers are going to be in this section of my number line. And so that's why it is X is less than or equal to. So the biggest thing to remember, if it's a solid point, or I'm sorry, if it's an open point like this, that means that it's either going to be greater than or less than, and then it's not going to be that number. If it's a solid point, that means that point is shaded in like this. That means it could be equal to that particular number that is shown on the number line. So I hope this helps get you started on the exercises today. As always, I am available to help. So reach out to me through email or on Power School Learning, or join one of our Zoom sessions and go over this information. So I hope this helps. Stay safe.